Hey there, self-advocates. This is Janice Sadler-Rice. I am the Director of Communications for the Montgomery County Board of Developmental Disability Services, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I'm especially excited to link up with you for the purposes of self-advocacy. I have loved being involved in self-advocacy efforts with the board over the years, and I want to give a quick shout out to my friends who are part of the Voices Matter and Voices of Greene County groups, and I want to give them a little plug. If you are not part of their group, I sure hope that you'll look into it, because so many great things have come out of launching that group. Friendships launched, self-advocacy skills developed, new opportunities to do fun things. So if you haven't looked into Voices Matter, I hope that you will ask Tammy Brooks from our recreation department about it. She helps facilitate that group and can put you in contact with them. So at any rate, wanted to give that little shout out. So we're at the beginning of the holiday season. Yay! I've got my bells. Woo-woo! I had to bring my jingle bells. So my topic for today is social media. And I'm so interested in talking with you about that and hearing what you have to say about how you use social media. Some of you may be involved with it. Some of you may not be. For those of you who are not, social media is a way to connect with other people using technology. It allows you to share thoughts and ideas, photos, videos. There are lots of different kinds of social media. The ones that you may be most familiar with right now are YouTube. You'll be able to watch my presentation and all of the others that are part of the 12 Days of Self-Advocacy on the Montgomery County Board's YouTube channel. So be sure to head there and share those presentations with your friends. I think about 73% of Americans, last time I heard, were on YouTube. They watch different videos on YouTube. Another very popular form of social media, as you know, is Facebook. I think about almost 70% of Americans have a Facebook account at last count. So it's one of the best known social media tools and allows you to share your thoughts, your ideas, your photos, your videos. Instagram is a third type, and it's way behind Facebook in terms of number of users. I think that it's a growing form of social media. It's mostly focused on photos and video. There's Snapchat, there's LinkedIn, which is a business-focused form of social media. If you want to build your business network, having a profile on LinkedIn can be a good thing. I think about maybe a quarter of Americans are on LinkedIn, last I heard. There's Twitter, which has become famous due to our current president's use of that media. And then there are others like Pinterest. But those are the big ones. So today I want to talk to you about two things. First, I want to talk to you about what a powerful tool social media can be, especially when it comes to self-advocacy. And then I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you need to know to participate in social media effectively and safely, because you don't want your social media participation to lead to problems for you. So let's get started. First, talking about the positives of social media. It can be a powerful tool that allows you as an individual to have a voice. If you have a social media account and you're participating, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, typing in comments or uploading pictures, you are doing that yourself. You are making the choices about what kind of content that you post. No one else is talking for you. So, again, a positive is it allows you to have a voice as a person. It allows you to connect directly with people, kind of in a way that would be similar to if you were talking with them on the telephone. But social media allows you to do that via an online network. It allows you to connect directly with your friends. And you can set up groups in some of these social media outlets, through Facebook, for example. We have a group through the board called MCBDDS Recreation on Facebook. And if you join that group, you can be aware of what's going on with the board's recreation program, but you can also connect with some friends that you may have met through board-sponsored activities who are also part of the group. So a little plug there for our recreation department. It's a great way to help you stay in touch with family that may not live nearby. Having a Facebook account allows you to send messages and share photos with each other and do things like that. So there are some big positives there as well. I know I do that with my family members who live in different areas of the country. It can also help you connect with other people in a meaningful way. And when I say this, typically, you don't want to connect with people on social media that you don't know. There are a lot of risks and dangers associated with, friending people on social media that you don't know. But if you are someone with a very specific and rare type of disability, places like Facebook can be a great place for you to connect with other people who have a similar type of disability. And you can talk to them for support or get ideas or find out about ways that they've handled challenges. So social media can be very positive in that way. It can allow you to make your voice heard on an issue. Someone may make a post about a specific issue related to people with disabilities. For example, voting. Before the election, there was a huge effort to try and get out the vote from people with disabilities, meaning people wanted people with disabilities to get out and vote. And there were lots of reminders online about people with disabilities and voting and where they could go to get assistance if they needed assistance, or how to get an absentee ballot, or what their rights were as members of a local community and as voters. So there's a huge upside to that, learning how to make your voice heard. And then one of the biggest things that you'll hear about when you are watching social media is building your brand. So when you think about someone who's an expert or someone who's a movie star, or they have a high level of recognition for something that they do, these days, in order to develop that high level of recognition, meaning that lots of people know who you are, they use social media to help build their name. So on the flip side, when you do things wrong or incorrectly on social media, there can be a lot of very negative repercussions. And you can see a lot of people where branding has gone awry, which means that they were trying to build a brand and they made a misstep, they made a mistake, and it backfired on them in a very big and spectacular way. So that kind of leads me into the second part of what I want to chat with you about, which is making sure that you are careful when you use social media. The most important thing to remember when you're talking about social media is that nothing that you share on social media is private. It's not. So If there's anything that's particularly sensitive, don't put it out there. That could be a comment, that could be something that you choose to post, information you choose to share, it could be a photo, it could be a video, but nothing is private. And the thing that I think you always need to think about when it comes to social media is there, before you post or share something, is there any way, ask yourself this, is there any way you could harm yourself or another person by sharing this information? If the answer is yes, then you shouldn't post that information. Sometimes people ask, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? If the answer to any one of those questions is no, you should not post it as well. So rule number one, ask yourself, is there any way you could harm yourself or another person by posting something on a particular social media channel or by commenting on someone else's post? Okay. Number two, we talked a little bit about the benefits of social media and helping you connect with people that you might not know. But one of the biggest rules of thumb is don't accept friend requests from strangers. And don't agree to meet an online friend unless in person, unless you already know them. Now, friend requests from strangers, there are a lot of people who are just trying to build their network of friends, but there are also people out there who are predators. They're bad people. And what they're trying to do is go out and build their network of friends, and then they go through their friends' posts and they look at what they've posted and they mine those posts for personal information. What that means is they're collecting information about you. And they might, take that information that they learn to create a profile about you that's not true, and then pretend to be you and do something bad that could harm you. They could falsify information about you that could lead to your identity theft. You don't want that to happen. They could use information that you post to bully you or make fun of you. They could use the information they gather to threaten you or blackmail you. They could use your information to make money off of you. They could take your pictures and use them in an advertisement that they're creating for a product. And you wouldn't get any of that. Not to mention the fact that you hadn't given them permission to use your photo or your video. So super important to be careful about who you friend on social media. That is a key. Something that you really need to think about doing, and this may require you to ask someone for help. You might know it already, but if you have not adjusted the privacy settings for each social media account that you have, I really urge you to do that. So what that means by adjusting your settings for privacy is you can control on a lot of social media outlets who sees your posts, who sees your photos, who can find out who your friends are on social media, and also any personal information you share. For example, Facebook, your profile on Facebook asks where you live, where you went to school, where you work. That's not information that the average person needs to know about you. And actually, if you're friends with someone, they're already going to know that information. So on my personal Facebook profile, I don't add any of that information. Because again, if someone's friends with me on Facebook, they already know where I work. They know where I went to school. They know what town I live in. So I don't share that. So I think that it's also really key to remember that if you have a friend, or even if you don't, you can get messages through social media from people who are not your friends. They may be asking you questions. Just because someone asks you a question on social media doesn't mean that you need to answer that question. I want you to think, if you're involved in social media right now, if you have a Facebook account or a Twitter feed, or you're on Snapchat or whatever, have you ever had someone send you a question, especially someone you didn't know? If that's the case, really think long and hard. You don't have to answer someone's questions. And just because someone asks you for information doesn't mean that you need to share that information. So be careful always and protect yourself. Speaking of protecting yourself, here's another big one, and I see lots of people doing this. People put their full name, their first, middle, and last name out on a social media post. They put their home address. They describe where they live. They tell people where they live. They put their phone number out there, their email address, even names of family members or housemates. All of those things are bad ideas. Anything that could lead someone to you is a bad idea unless you know the person already. So don't ever share your address, your phone number, your email, any of those other things that I mentioned, where you live. There are bots and there are bad people out there who are trying to gather that information and use it for bad purposes. So the best way to be safe is to not share that. Also, hand in hand along with that, don't ever post financial information or share information about your financial situation, meaning your money, okay? That's critical. We don't want people to be able to gather information about you and falsify your identity, pretend to be you, and then create an account that allows them to misrepresent you and possibly take away your money. So don't do that. Another thing that I really want all of you to consider, and this is one that I think is probably the most violated in everything I see, is sharing photos of someone else without their permission. So maybe we're at an event together and you and I are standing there and we decide we want someone to take our picture. So we're standing there with our arms around each other and we're really happy to capture this moment in time of our friendship. Now, I might be excited about that, but do I necessarily want that picture up on social media? If you're standing next to me, the right thing to do is ask me, is it okay if I share this picture on social media? I might tell you yes. I might say, yeah, that's great. I might say, okay, tell me where you're going to share this first. I need to be able to think about it before I let you know if it's okay. I might decide that it's okay for you to share in the Voices Matter group on Facebook, but I don't want you putting it out on your newsfeed on Facebook. So the Voices Matter group on Facebook is a private group, and the only people who would be able to see that photo would be people who are members of Voices Matter. And I know them, so I might be okay with you posting our photo there. But if you just want to put it on your timeline, that would expose me potentially to lots of people that I don't know. So it's always best to ask first before you put up a picture of anyone else. It's the nice thing to do, it's the right thing to do, and it is aligned with the values of self-advocacy and giving people the opportunity to speak for themselves. And I know all of you are 100% behind the idea of speaking for yourself. If you get a nasty message from someone on social, or someone says something online that upsets you, it's really important to tell another trusted adult about it. There might be something that you need to report to the social media outlet, or maybe even to law enforcement. It just depends. But if something like that happens, never hesitate to ask another trusted adult what they would do. You know, that could be your SSA, it could be your parents, it could be your brother or sister, it could be a trusted friend, someone that you know has good judgment and that could help you. Last but not least, remember, you never want to say something online, whether it be a post that you make or a comment that you make on someone else's post, that you wouldn't want other people to read. You know, once you post it, you can't take it back. So a lot of things that people post online can come back to haunt them. And you don't want that to happen to you. You know, always use that question before posting. Would I hurt someone if I posted this information? You know, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Did I ask the other person if I could post this? Or if you're commenting, is it okay to share this? So at any rate, that's what I have for you about social media. What I am hoping will happen now is you'll have a discussion amongst yourselves about the different kinds of social media that you're involved in. And I think it would be helpful if you also talked about examples of good social media that you've seen, examples of social media problems that you've seen, things where social media has gone wrong, so that we're all careful and we can all use social media as a very positive tool and one that won't harm ourselves or others. So that's all I have for today, but I want to wish you again happy holidays. Stay safe, wash your hands, maintain the social distance of 6 feet, and reach out to people. Reach out to your network, because that's one of the most important things you can do to help yourself right now during this difficult time. Take care.